Imagine standing in the most prosperous city on Earth, a place of such immense wealth and strategic power that it was considered the crown jewel of the Bronze Age. The markets are buzzing, the walls are impenetrable, and the future looks infinite. Now look up. In less than 3 seconds, the sky turns from a brilliant blue to a blinding, hellish white. A heat, more intense than the surface of the sun, screams downward at speeds that defy physics. Before you can even blink, the air around you vanishes. Your lungs collapse. The stone walls that protected you for centuries don't just crumble, they turn into liquid. This is not a scene from a Hollywood blockbuster. This is not a dream. This is a cold, hard archaeological reality that was frozen in time 3,600 years ago. For decades, mainstream science laughed at the accounts of Sodom and Gomorrah, calling them moral fables for the primitive mind. But a terrifying discovery in the Jordan Valley has just turned the world of archaeology upside down. They found the smoking gun, a layer of ash so toxic, so hot, and so violent that it forces us to ask the most unsettling question in human history. What or who decided to erase this civilization from the face of the earth? Welcome to Tal el-Hammam. On the surface, it looks like a pile of dirt. But as you dig deeper, you hit a 1.5-meter thick layer of hell. Forensic archaeologists, including experts who have analyzed nuclear blast zones, were brought in because the evidence made no sense. They found pottery shards that were melted only on one side. Do you understand the implication of that? This means the heat was so directional and so fast that it melted the outside of the clay before the inside could even get warm. We are talking about a thermal pulse that reached 4,000 degrees Fahrenheit in a microsecond. In nature, this doesn't happen. Volcanoes? Not here. An ancient war? No fire started by man can melt stone into glass. But then, the discovery got even weirder. They found nano-diamonds. These are microscopic diamonds that only form under the kind of extreme pressure found in the heart of a massive explosion or a cosmic impact. These tiny diamonds are embedded in the skeletons of the victims. Think about that. The very air they breathed was turned into a diamond-hard shrapnel before they were vaporized. If you are realizing right now that history is much more dangerous than your teachers told you, then you are exactly where you need to be. Welcome to Christian civilization. We don't just tell stories. We hunt for the physical truth that connects our modern world to the ancient mysteries of faith and science. If you want to be part of a community that values deep evidence and shocking historical reality over comfortable myths, hit that subscribe button right now. Do not miss our next investigation. Click subscribe and join the search for the truth. Now let's look at the twist that science is struggling to explain. If a meteor hits the ground, it leaves a crater. But there is no crater at Sodom. Why? Because the evidence points to an airburst, a cosmic bomb that detonated 2.5 miles above the city. This was a rock the size of a football stadium, moving at 38,000 miles per hour. When it hit the atmosphere, the pressure was so great that it exploded with the force of 1,000 Hiroshima bombs. The shockwave moved at 740 miles per hour, instantly shearing every building off its foundation. But the most horrifying part: the salt. The blast occurred directly over the Dead Sea, vaporizing millions of tons of salt and brine. This superheated salt storm rained down on the entire valley, turning the most fertile land in the ancient world into a chemical wasteland. From a geopolitical perspective, this was a total system failure. This region was the Silicon Valley of the Bronze Age. And in one afternoon, the ROI, return on investment, for this entire civilization went to zero. It didn't just kill the people, it killed the soil. The land stayed dead for 700 years. Imagine the fear in the surrounding nations. They didn't see a meteor. They saw a targeted surgical strike from the heavens. This event was so traumatic that it wasn't just written down, it was burned into the DNA of human memory. Why is this evidence only coming out now? For years, there has been a silent war in academia. Admitting that a cosmic event perfectly matches a biblical account is uncomfortable for many secular scientists. It blurs the line between physics and providence. But the shocked quartz found at the site is undeniable. This is a mineral that has been physically altered by a massive shockwave. It is a signature of power. But here's where the suspense builds. Why this specific location? Why this specific time? If we look at the survival patterns of ancient civilizations, Sodom was at its peak. It was the fittest, and yet, it was the one chosen for erasure. This challenges our modern arrogance. We think that because we have satellites and 5G, we are safe. But the Sodom anomaly proves that the universe or something higher can hit the reset button at any moment. And there is absolutely nothing our technology can do to stop it. The most disturbing part of the tall el-Hammam site isn't what they found, it's what they didn't find. They didn't find signs of a gradual decline. They didn't find signs of disease. They found a civilization that was deleted in its prime. Even today, the chemical signature of that salt burst remains in the deep layers of the soil. It is a long-lasting scar that refuses to heal. Scientists are now comparing this to the Tunguska event in Russia, but Sodom was far more localized and far more devastating to human life. The overlap between the ancient descriptions of fire and brimstone and the modern archaeological findings of melted sulfur and thermal pulses is now at 99%. This is no longer a matter of opinion. It is a matter of forensic data. We are looking at the remains of a real, powerful, and unsettling event that modern science can describe, but cannot fully explain the why behind it. Standing in the ruins of the Jordan Valley today, the silence is heavy. It's the kind of silence that only comes after a massive explosion. It's a reminder that history is not just a collection of stories, it's a warning. We call it myth because we are afraid of the alternative. We are afraid that the laws of nature are not as predictable as we want to believe. If the physical evidence at Sodom tells a different story than the one you were told in school, what else are they lying to you about? What other myths are actually raw, terrifying memories of things we have forgotten? The traces are there. The melted glass is real. The salt is real. The question is, are you ready to accept what the evidence is actually saying? Because once you see the truth, you cannot go back to the simple answers. History is watching us. And sometimes it's waiting to repeat itself. If this deep dive has shifted your reality, make sure you are subscribed to Christian Civilization. We are just scratching the surface of the forbidden history that shapes our world. Like this video to help the algorithm reach more seekers of truth, and leave a comment below. Was this a cosmic accident or something more? The discussion happens in the comments. Subscribe, stay vigilant, and we will see you in the next investigation.